Alright guys, what's going on? We got a lot to talk about today. I did well. I'm up over 300 bucks on the day. But that's not the point. Like I always try to say, the point is not the P and L, okay? I was up 100 bucks, and then I was down 50 bucks, and then I was break even, and then I was down 100 bucks, and then I was up 400 bucks, and then I was up 200. Like, I'm clearly over trading. I started to get a grasp on my emotions recently with trading, and then today we slipped up a little bit. I was never really down that much, and I was taking acceptable losses. I guess if I just show, I could bring over the summary here. Like, none of these losses are crazy, but look at the commissions. Look at how much I just paid in commissions today. That's 160 bucks. Now this already has that included. So this is my actual P&L. Whereas my net would have been higher, and then they take off commissions, and then I get this. But that's way too much on ENPH. Let's go through it, okay? So the first thing I was watching at the open here was staff. Now, my first mistake was I put in an order at 211 as it was dropping. Instead of doing what I usually do and just feeling out the level 2, the time in sales, and then getting in on my own kind of intuition. So you can see there, as it was dropping, let me turn off my speakers here. As it was dropping, I pressed the button. I have an order in at 211. I just barely didn't get filled by 1 cent. And then the opening range breakout here from the bottoms here to the top, I completely missed that. I would have been in with 1,000 shares, maybe 15 cents a profit. I would have made 150 bucks right there in 5 seconds, 10 seconds. So that was a mistake, right? Like, I usually don't put in the hard orders. I don't know what I was thinking. And then, here it comes back down to the level again, 210, 207. I get in again. Now, I don't really consider this a mistake because VWAP is here, the level is still here, and I'm taking smaller size, so this is very acceptable. I know that we have room down to 196, which is on the daily here. You can't really see it. It's the tops of these candles right here. And that's my full risk level. And I say to myself, if we get down there, I gave myself enough room to go full size, and then I'll have a tight stop so that I don't lose that much. So sure enough, we actually make it all the way down there. And this is already starting to look like a short to me. Like we're under 210, we're under VWAP. So I'm saying to myself, like, should I be longing here? This is my setup. We are coming back into a daily support. So I said, you know what? I've accepted the risk. We're soaking a lot of shares here in this area. So I try to add. There. I just fast forward a bit. There, now I have 1,000 shares. I don't even think I go full size. No, I don't go full size to 1,500 shares. Because remember, my max size is 1,500, so just as a side note, it's really good that I've been paying attention to that and just following that. So I'm in here now, 1,000 shares. I instantly put a stop at 194. The max I can lose is, I think, $80 or $90 or $60, $70, $80 on the trade, something like that. And I immediately switch over to ENPH. I bought on my other monitor because this, again, is my setup. We bursted through 1245. It's the high of yesterday. We busted through it. We come back down. I buy on it. My fills are getting spread out for some reason, because when, you don't, this bid is so thin, 100 shares, that I don't get filled right at the price that I want, I guess. So it filled a couple hundred at a time. I don't know exactly what happened there. But in any case, my average is 1248. We shoot straight back up to 1280. I'm trying to get some shares out. I get 300 of 500, or 300 of 800 out. And I have 500 left, and then what do I do here, actually? I keep selling on the way up. I sold another 200 into these highs, because we're just squeezing. So I add here, because I think we're gonna flag and then break out, and I'll sell the whole position around $13. So I'm putting in my stop here, and here's an example of a mistake. So why did I add here? There's no reason to add here. There's no level. All this did was screw up my average, and then I put my stop based on my average, not on the chart, because stopping out here, there's no reason to stop out here. You could easily bounce off at 1250. This is support. 1245 is support. You know, the flag could be building right here. And that's exactly what happened. I stopped out right on support. It got bought up, kind of like it should, and it continued without me. So, you know, here's another good point. I didn't chase it. I was thinking of taking it right here. I was saying, you know, this is still my setup. I'm just a little nervous for whatever reason. You know, I was not accepting the risk of the trade, I guess. So it moves up without me. It keeps going. You know, I don't chase it. I do not chase it. My entry was missed, so I don't chase it. So I'm really happy about that. You know, even on this dip, I say, nope, I'm not taking this now. I'm waiting for a better scalp setup. I no longer have the long hold setup, so I'm waiting for the scalp. So I take a quick one right here above 1280. You can see it's not really moving at all. My entry's at 1280. I have 1,000 shares here, and it's not moving, so I already don't like it, and I'm trying to get out, because what I thought would happen was we would squeeze up to $13, I would sell, and I would make between $100 and $200 very quickly. But we're just kind of holding here, and we're not breaking out, so I put my shares up, and I eventually get filled there. And then, of course, we move up towards the 1290s. I would have sold there and maybe made $80 or something. But in any case, that's fine. That was the scalp opportunity right there. And what else do I do here? Do I take that again? Yeah, so here's where it starts to take a turn for the worse. My biggest problem with trading is overtrading and regulating, like, my impulses, my emotions. I bought here because I thought that this would hold this, like, I don't even know if this is a valid trend line. I think it is, and I did go small size, but I took it here. So I thought we would consolidate here, and then I thought we would move higher. Instead, we just dropped and we dropped. I didn't have a stop in here because of 500 shares. I said, okay, that's fine, because we can go to VWAP, we can continue flagging, and then eventually break out. And then I stopped here. Let me go to the chart. So I stopped out here at 951. This chart. 951 was right here. So I stopped out, still well within this flag, right? And then I rebought higher again, kind of like I did here. And then I stopped out again, and then rebought higher, and it was really bad. So what I actually did wrong was I was just not patient, and I was selling where I should have been buying, and I was buying where I should have been selling. It was the exact opposite, because I was reacting on emotions, not my trading plan, which would have worked beautifully if I had just held. If I had just held this entry here, you know, and maybe had some sells up here and had my stop at break even at 1245, you can see this level was very, very well respected. And then eventually, boom, it went straight through the highs there to 1296 and then even higher. So that's something I have to work on, because that's the thing that's holding me back. Probably bigger than anything else is that mistake, that trading error, because I make it over and over. And yesterday and the day before, you know, I did really well. I respected my max loss, even though I overtraded. And then yesterday, I didn't even trade, and I just took a really tiny trade on Apple, if you remember. So It's getting better, but I know that there's going to be these hiccups because look, I stopped out of the whole thing right here. I think I had 1,000 shares at this point, and then it moved. It moved without me. It did exactly my move without me. I would have been selling up here towards 12.90, and with 1,000 shares on what is that, 30 cents, $300, and I'm down. I'm down 150. So it's disappointing, but I kept my head on. You know, I wasn't that upset. I just recognized the errors that I was making. So I tried shorting it in here, and then I covered before it actually made the move down to where I wanted to cover. So it came back up, and I started shorting again. I think it was 400, 400, 400 shares. And then I covered as it came back down, and I didn't hold all the way to my target. So I knew that I was getting sloppy. So I think that was the last trade of the day. There was a couple other names, but I think that was the last trade of the day. Staff, I tried to catch on the way down, and added to my full size, and then stopped out right away with a $68 loss. I think that was from before. So that was fine. The SPY. Oh yes, I took calls on the SPY. Let's pull that up. We'll do this one quickly because it wasn't that good of a trade. What I did here was I bought calls on the SPY right here at 940. Right here. So we bounced off a key level of 294.50 that I had marked. 294.50. We had bounced off. So when it came back down, I bought calls. Now, this I think this was a kind of a frustration trade because this is not where I should have been buying, right? I should have been buying right here and then maybe stopping out in here, because we came up here, we retested VWAP, we also retested these lows kind of in this area, like just this whole area from pre-market. We came up and we retested it. So this looks like a really good short, and in fact it was a really good short, but I was just on the wrong side of it. I wasn't thinking properly, but I think the biggest thing is that my loss was acceptable. It was a $125 loss, and that's completely acceptable. Even if the trade was complete garbage, I was following my risk so I can work on the trade after the fact. So that was that. And now finally, the pride and glory, ABIO. Sorry, I had to redo this recording. I was getting a little flustered the first time. So anyways, ABIO, it came down right to my level as I was in ENPH, which is part of the reason I sold right here before my target. All my buying power was tied up in here. This thing wasn't moving. It hadn't moved for like 15 minutes, so I said, screw it. We'll take the loss rate, or it was like break even. We'll take it right here. I switched over to ABIO. It was getting all the momentum. 687. What a beautiful entry. Look at this. 687 was my entry. 687 was my level from the daily. There's a top here and there's a top here. So a double top acting as support. Beautiful. And then I was just waiting for my sell. We dipped down for a very, very quick second here. Oh no, that's not right. No. It was more like this. So we dipped down for a second. We came back up. We shot through. I started to sell. I got all my sells out here. I guess a mistake on this one is that I didn't hold on to more, but I didn't even see a next target here. I mean, I guess it did end up getting all the way up to, $9, $9.50 from the daily here. There's no way I could have predicted this, so I think I should have held on to, I think this last sell was 200 shares in here, or 300 shares. Or, well, no, that was up there. ABIO. Anyways, I should have held on to some shares for this move. That's my mistake. I usually hold on to a tiny piece, even if it's only 200 shares of 1,000. That's what I should have done here. I tried to quickly scalp it in here. I made like $10 or something like that, or $100, sorry, 10 cents on 1,000 shares somewhere in here, I think. And then I couldn't touch it after that. I couldn't touch it anywhere in here at all because there's no trade in here. So the next entry that I wanted was VWAP. So it comes all the way down here, comes all the way down to $8. There was a lot of buying around $8. So I got in at $8 with only 500 shares, you can see here. So I sized down, which is really good. I wasn't, 1,500 shares, 1,000 shares, whatever it was. So we break over this wedge. I sell 200 of them, and then I hold 300 for a move higher with a stop at break even. So my stop here was at break even. It got triggered right before the dump, and then I think I added like $30 of profit to the name just from this sell here, or $20. Yeah, something like that. It wasn't too much, so that was a failed trade. But after that, I said, that is it. I only added, like I said, $10, $20, $30 to the name. I'm up 331 on the day, which is good, but clearly I have some things to work on. Like ENPH, I'm just so many mistakes. When I was long, I had the right thesis. You can tell this is a great entry, and the first trade was great, but this entry here, I'm adding at resistance. I'm selling at support. I'm adding at resistance. I'm selling at support. And like this short here, I didn't even hold on for the move. I got scared. I was trading the P&L. And then again, when I took the short, I took it a little early because I was nervous. I need to just really work on the discipline and focus on taking my setup and not over trading. My commissions are far too high today, but I think this is important to share because this is some of the things people go through. Some people over trade all the way up until blowing up their account, and maybe I could have done that today. Maybe I could have kept adding and adding and adding. Now I'm past that stage in my trading where I just keep adding and adding and adding until I blow up. At least I think I'm past that stage. But this easily could have been a minus 250 day or something like that, which wouldn't have been that bad, but I'm trying to stay away from that. There's clear mistakes in here, and I hope I wasn't rambling too hard. My mouth is so dry right now. I feel like I've been rambling for like 20 minutes. Hopefully that was valuable, at least a little bit. You guys can leave your questions, comments below. Please smash that subscribe button, and other than that, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.